What is more exhilarating and enjoyable than a gallop over those hills and vales on a sturdy steed? Everybody rides horseback in Eureka, men, women, and children. It matters not whether visitors have ever sat on a horse before. They take to riding at this place. People who arrive here helpless invalids as soon as the first signs of returning health appear are to be found astride a horse and are off with the other visitors enjoying an exhilarating canter over the delightful mountain paths in the clear, bracing air, writes Mr. Carney in 1917. Thus, the livery stables of early Eureka Springs served the needs of both practical freight hauling and pleasure rides. In addition to individual canters, there were the popular tally-hoes, large wagons offering excursions into the countryside for picnics and touring expeditions. On the south side of the current trolley depot, the Cornerstone Bank of Eureka Springs sits on the site of the G.M. McGinnis and Freeman livery stables. One of these liveries remains as Higgins General Store until 1966, when the bank was built. This bank was the first new building erected downtown in decades, moving here from its former location on Spring Street. In 1979, it was expanded and furnished as an old-fashioned bank in time for the centennial celebrations. Still a working bank, it is also the historic Bank of Eureka Springs Museum, with collections of both banking and Eureka Springs memorabilia. It is free and open during business hours. This part of South Main Street moved from livery stables to auto garages and auto dealers. The current trolley depot was also the site of Maddox Garage, which evolved from horses to cars early on. A travel brochure boasted, "The autoist will find adequate facilities for the care and maintenance of his car, there being several first-class garages, all well located in the business section close to the best hotels. Besides sufficient fireproof rooms for parking, these garages boast of the most skilled mechanics and are prepared to handle any kind of repair work. You can rest assured that your car will be well taken care of." In the 1930s, what is now the historic Loop and Main Street were paved in concrete. The paving was funded by a grant from the Arkansas Highway Department as part of an effort to upgrade auto travel in the state. The nice, smooth route around town became an attraction itself. A brochure captures this appeal. The city climbs from the valley floor up to the mountain tops. The street curve and climb upward, first among business buildings, then past homes, springs, and grottos, with elaborately developed stonework to merge with scenic parkway drives leading along the mountaintop and connecting with the state highway systems. And yes, it is still a good ride after all these years. But even if you did not arrive in a mountain-worthy car, you could still enjoy riding around these curves and hills in a touring car, the automotive successor to the popular tally-ho wagon of earlier times. For most of its history, Eureka Springs has also offered public transportation. After the first wave of health seekers arrived on foot, horseback, or wagon, a railroad was built in 1883 to connect Eureka Springs with the rest of the country. Thus, most visitors before the 1920s arrived in Eureka Springs via railway. Livery drivers offered shuttles from the train to hotels or boarding houses. However, the need for other public transportation around town was soon apparent. Mule-drawn streetcars were introduced in the early 1890s. In 1899, an electric car line was installed, but the town's narrow streets could not accommodate both trolleys and autos, so the tracks were removed when automobiles became the most popular mode of travel. Eureka Springs' centennial year, 1979, brought a revival of the glory days and celebration of earlier eras of local history. Thus, it made sense to also revive the traditional trolley concept, but fit them with rubber tires, making the best of both worlds. The Eureka Springs trolley now has multiple routes covering the entire town and some of the nearby attractions with guided tram tours offered during most of the year.